and outstanding dueling piano entertainment. Proceeds from the event support the many projects CCEF undertakes within the Clinton School District. Learn more on the Clinton Community Educational Foundation Facebook page or call Ruth for tickets at 217-935-7761. The CCEF Derby Day at Clinton Country Club, 4 p.m. May 7th.
You're listening to The Morning Show on the Big 1520 across Central Illinois. WHOW.
Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. My guest on the phone this morning is Cailtin Mellendorf. She is the nutrition educator with the University of Illinois Extension in Macon, Piatt, and DeWitt County. And a good Monday morning to you, Cailtin. How are you today?
Good morning. I know we were talking off air this kind of quiet spring rain, and I'm just sleepy this morning, but we're gonna make it up early here on this Monday morning. We're gonna get excited about talking, and we're gonna make it.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to, in the spirit of Easter, the Easter season, of course. I know yesterday was Easter, but it doesn't hurt to talk about this nonetheless. Of course, kids were out with those Easter egg hunts and those Easter egg baskets and all those things. There was probably some, I know my wife's work, they did an Easter egg gift, I guess, kind of an oversized egg to all their employees and those sorts of things. So it is the season of eggs, I suppose you could say, Cailtin. And so with that in mind, we're going to talk about actual eggs, the ones that we can pick up from the grocery store. Maybe we've got someone that supplies our eggs for us, farm fresh. Those are absolutely tremendous. Let's just kind of start out with some basics about eggs this morning, Cailtin. How about that?
Yeah, so since I am not the ag person, I will probably not explain this 100% well, but I wanted to start out with just different colored eggs. So, of course, yes, we just came off of Easter, and for anyone that did Easter egg hunts or dyed eggs, you can make the eggshell turn colors with different dyes, but actually some breeds of chickens do produce other colored eggs. So in a grocery store, probably we're familiar with seeing white eggs and brown eggs, but there are some some breeds of chickens that do have like a slight blue color or a slight green color. We had a farm tour, many years ago, up in DeWitt County, and the farmer brought out his kind of the greenish color to the egg. So that was really fun for the kids that were on that trip with us to be able to see. So nutritionally, it's going to be an egg, and we'll talk about nutrition here in a bit, but no matter the color, just know that it's coming from different breeds. That's really the only difference. It's not, one is not better than the other. It's just about different breeds, but it is really fun sometimes to have those different colors just for the, for the novelty of it.
Mm-hmm, for sure. Yeah. And so there's really no difference other than that color, which signifies that it's coming from a different breed of chicken then, basically, correct?
Right. Yeah. So I know typically in a grocery store, brown eggs have a higher price tag. And so sometimes people look at that as, oh, well, maybe this is better because I have to spend more money on it. Maybe it's more nutritious. And that's not really the case so much. Typically, hens that produce the browner eggs or other colored eggs just require more feed. They might be a larger bodied hen, and so they just need more food. And so the farmer is offsetting that extra feed and having that hen just need more food. That is offset to you, the customer. So sometimes you see that price difference, but nutritionally, all the same. But some people really enjoy just that feel of a white egg versus a brown egg, or vice versa. So it's really just a matter of what your price point is, but nutritionally, it's all going to be the same.
Sure. Cailtin, this might be a silly question. Why is it when I'm like my sister-in-law and her husband, they have eggs at their farm down in Southern Illinois, and they'll hook us up with a couple dozen when we go see them, and we'll bring them back. And it feels like those eggs taste better, fresher maybe, than what I buy at the grocery store. Is that just me, or is there something to that?
Oh, I think the coloring can be so much brighter, more vibrant with the yolk, with those farm eggs that are close to home. I've got a farmer out of Findlay that I go buy her eggs, and I feel like that yolk is always just such a bright, vibrant color. Yeah, they definitely, I would say they have a fresher taste, probably because they are being purchased maybe within a couple days, maybe a week, whereas just because of our food system in the U.S., we are getting eggs from different parts of the country. They're going to be, yes, traveling on trucks for a little while. They're sitting in the grocery store shelves for a little while. So they may just have a slightly off taste, that's maybe a little less fresh than what you might get when you go to a local farm, but also diets are a little different. And we can talk about some of the different language on packaging that can impact the diets of these chickens, that can also change the color of the yolk and have some of the different flavor profiles that you see inside the yolk.
Well, let's do that now again with Cailtin Mellendorf, nutrition educator with the University of Illinois Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties. So dive into that with us a little bit here this morning, Cailtin.
Totally. So when you see, I've noticed this with the farmer that I mentioned in Findlay, during the spring and summer and fall, the yolks are a very vibrant kind of orange and orange yellow. And then when it comes to winter, those chickens are getting a slightly different diet just because it's winter and things are not growing. And so the yolk tends to kind of dull a little bit. It's a little bit more pale yellow, still very, very good tasting, but just a very interesting kind of change in that color. So when you are purchasing eggs, whether it's from a farm or from a grocery store, you're probably going to see some different language on the packaging as marketing to say, how were these, what were the diets of these chickens like? And there's a little bit of humane aspect to this. So sometimes shoppers are concerned about how these chickens were treated. And so we see some of that language on the packaging just to market, hey, how are these chickens raised? And that might be different from one farm to another. So in terms of the yolk color, you might see that hens are fed possibly a diet with more pigment color. So that orangey yellow color that you get in a yolk, we see that translated to a pigment in some of our foods called xanthines, which has the same kind of yellowish orange color. And so you might have chickens that are being fed foods that contain that. So different types of flaxseed or grasses, sometimes algae can have that kind of color produced in the yolk. So sometimes it's not present in some of the commercial feeds, but if you are, this topic is just so big, Seth. It's hard to wrap around.
Yeah.
But it'll depend. Some hens would be fed different omega-3 supplements, which can change the omega-3 fats in the egg yolk. It's just all sorts of different things that can change the flavor of the egg and also maybe sometimes the color. And then we also see on cartons things like free range or, we probably don't see anything that says conventional, but we'll see pasture raised, free range, free roaming, cage free. And these are all different marketing languages that you'll see on packages. And they do indicate what kind of environment that hen was raised in. So cage-free is that they had access to an outdoor space. Mm-hmm. Cage-free being that they have access outside of a cage. Free range being that they had access to outdoor space. Conventional is typically more cage-raised. And so if you have concerns about how those animals are raised, you can certainly look for the language on the carton to say, how were these chickens treated? Because some people have concerns with that. Mm-hmm. That will sometimes change the cost. Not necessarily that the farmer has to do more or less work, but sometimes for marketing purposes, for packaging, we can throw on language and then we can raise the price a little bit. So do be cautious of that if you are on a budget and you want to be maybe a little bit more like, I don't know if I can spend that on that. That's okay too. Mm-hmm.
I guess I didn't realize how
it's kind of a giant environment of different farms doing slightly different things. So there's quite a bit to unpack there.
I was going to say that is way more encompassing than I really anticipated, but it's good information, and it kind of speaks to the variety of ways that, that food is basically, produced and given out to the consumer, at least from listening to you talk there, Cailtin. So I look at the clock, Cailtin. We are a few minutes ahead of the break, but let's take a time out. I wanted to get into kind of some of the health benefits of eggs and, ways to prepare them or not prepare them and all of that. But in the meantime, where do folks go to find more of what you're doing this month, Cailtin? Whether it's blogs, recipes, anything like that, where do folks go to find those things?
Sure. So everything that we have going on, you can certainly come to our office and check out the different flyers that are on bulletin boards, or you can check us out on our website at go.illinois.edu/DMP for DeWitt, Macon, Payette, and find us on various social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Very good. Cailtin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, University of Illinois Extension, our guest on the phone. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. More on the WHOW Morning Show.
Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Monday. I'm Jim Taylor for the RFD Radio Network. Corn, beans, and wheat all starting the day higher. May corn $8 1/2, up 10 1/4. July corn up 8 3/4, 7.92 1/2, and December corn starting the day $7.44, up 8 3/4. May beans $16.93 1/2, up 11 1/4. July beans up 7 3/4, 16.73. November a new crop $15.06 3/4, up 5 1/4. May wheat starting the day $11.18 3/4, up 22 1/4. July wheat up 21, 11.25 1/2, and September wheat 11.22 1/4. That's up 21 1/4. May bean meal $4.60 even, down $1.40. May bean oil $79.83, up 92 cents. A look at the opening numbers at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Monday morning. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network.
New trucks and SUVs are coming here at Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. This is Scott Baum. Yes, we have new inventory arriving, and you can see what will arrive right on our website. Just click on the pre-order and reserve tab. From there, you will find vehicles in transit and vehicles in production. Or just call our sales staff and we'll help. Find Silverados, Equinoxes, Blazers, including Tahoes and Suburbans, as well as our complete Buick line of SUVs. BaumChevyBuick.com. Right from the start.
Here's a supply chain update from your Clinton Save-A-Lot. Owner Dave Jackson here to let you know that despite our best efforts, many times we're seeing specific items simply disappear off of our store shelves. Our suppliers are halting production of slower items to concentrate on the higher volume products. Keeping our shelves appearing full is becoming more difficult, but you have my personal guarantee we are pulling out all of the stops to keep the freshest meat and produce and the items you buy every day stocked and on our shelves. Your Clinton Save-A-Lot appreciates your business, and we hope to see you soon.
This is the morning show on 92.3 FM in DeWitt County, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence, and on the phone with us is Cailtin Mellendorf, nutrition educator with the University of Illinois Extension in DeWitt, Macon, and Payette counties. Cailtin, let's talk health benefits of eggs. I know for myself, whenever I get like a hunger headache or something of that nature, and I just need a blast of protein in my system, I'll maybe cook together some eggs if I'm feeling up to it or something of that nature. What's the health benefits of eggs? How about those things?
Yeah, so eggs, as you just noted, are an excellent source of protein. They're really a highly digestible protein. So for people that maybe struggle to have maybe digestive issues, the protein in egg is very highly digestible, meaning that it breaks down into its different amino acids and it's really well absorbed by the body. So it's a great high quality protein source. And the yolk has fat, which I know we tend to villainize fat in our culture, but fat has really important uses to to the body. It is involved in every single cell in your body. It's part of the cell wall. It helps to make hormones. It helps to transport different fat-soluble vitamins. So it's really important. So even though egg yolks do have fat, that's a fat that provides really important uses to the body. And the yolk contains our different fat-soluble vitamins. So vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin K, and that not pink, oh my goodness, I'm thinking Easter eggs over here. The orange and kind of yellow color of the yolk we talked about xanthines, which are a pigment color. They also have carotenoids, which I think a lot of people have heard of, like carotene and carrots. So egg yolks also have these carotenoid pigments, which we're seeing more science around. What do these pigments do to the body? And we're seeing that they are helpful in disease prevention. So that's really cool too. They are a low carbohydrate, they're essentially a no carbohydrate food. So for those that need some protein but don't want to have a carbohydrate attached to it, so maybe you have beans, which have both protein and carbohydrate, but if you're looking for something that is just protein, in this case some fat, eggs are a great option there. The probably sticking point that for years and years and years we hear about with eggs is cholesterol.
Mm-hmm.
And cholesterol is divided into kind of two components. So we have cholesterol in foods, so any animal product, meat, eggs, yogurt, cheese, has cholesterol, and that's what we call dietary cholesterol. So it comes from the foods that we eat in our diet. The other one is blood cholesterol, and the body makes all the cholesterol that we need. And cholesterol goes to part of fat, so it goes towards the production of hormones. It goes towards producing components for cell walls in the body. So it has really important functions. But there's a lot of concern, right? If we're eating a lot of dietary cholesterol, does that impact our blood cholesterol? And the science from a couple decades ago said, yeah, we're pretty sure that that's the cause. And more recent science is showing us that no, it's actually a different type of fat. It's not dietary cholesterol that impacts our blood cholesterol as much. What does impact our blood cholesterol is more of our saturated fats, which we can talk about on another episode. So that's kind of encouraging. So for people that maybe have limited their egg consumption in the past, maybe that's something to look at, like, oh, maybe the cholesterol in the egg doesn't impact my blood cholesterol as much anymore, is what science is telling us. So maybe you can feel a bit more comfortable eating those eggs, which is kind of nice for a lot of people that really enjoy eggs. Now, the science still recommends that if you have heart disease, you might still kind of experiment with that. You may limit your egg consumption and then go have a blood test for your cholesterol and see how that impacts. For some people, it may have a stronger impact, but for other people, it may not, which is the difficulty with nutrition science sometimes. But you can always kind of experiment and kind of see, well, if I eat eggs and I go have a blood test, what does that change versus maybe a month or so of me not eating as many eggs? So it's something that you can work out around your health if you do have heart disease.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So keep a lot of that in mind. And the cholesterol thing, I know that's always been kind of on folks' radar, and I'm glad you broke that down for us, because that was certainly a talking point that I did want to kind of dive into a little bit here for this morning. But Cailtin, anything else as it relates to the nutritional value of eggs that we haven't touched on?
No, but I'm super excited to talk about how we can prepare eggs and some meal ideas for the week.
By the way, is it bad to eat eggs raw?
So the concern would be, we're going to do some food safety. I love it. The concern about undercooked or raw eggs is a risk of salmonella, which is something that we see in poultry as a risk. So if you undercook chicken, there's a risk that you didn't kill off the salmonella bacteria. And because eggs are produced from our chickens, we do see that transfer of salmonella that is just sometimes part of the chicken's environment into the egg. So there runs that risk, even if the egg comes from a local farm or small farm, the risk is still there. So it's not something that I recommend.
All right, easy enough. I was just kind of curious about that. Not that I've done it. I've been curious about it, and I don't know that I'd ever do it. I was just kind of wondering. But you talked about preparation for eggs, Cailtin. Let's dive into that for our final moments here together this morning.
Yeah, so actually I wanted to continue because it kind of rolls into food safety and preparation. When you get your eggs home, here in the US, we do rinse off that outer coating of the fresh eggs, so they do need to be refrigerated. And the timeline is about 3 to 5 weeks on eggs. And so that seems like a long time to a lot of people, but the egg retains safety being refrigerated. And just know that the quality of the egg in terms of the yolk starts to get thinner as it ages. You might get more air pockets. So if you hard boil a 5-week-old egg, you might notice kind of a little dip where there was an air pocket in the egg that started to get really big. That's just because the egg is older. It's not necessarily because the egg is unsafe to eat. But in terms of preparing eggs, I wanted to offer before we finish up this morning on a kind of a freezer meal idea, which is making yourself, you can crack some eggs, whisk them up, and then add in some different meats or vegetables, pour those into some muffin tins, bake those, and you can have those as a freezer option. So you can put them in the freezer, you can reheat them maybe in a microwave or maybe in a toaster oven if you have one, as a really quick breakfast in the morning. So you can pair that maybe with some fruit or some toast, whatever maybe sounds good to you. But I like that as just you can prepare it in advance. You can make a dozen or so of those. You can have them throughout the week. They're very kid friendly. They're freezer friendly. So they're one that I really enjoy encouraging folks to make.
Very good. Cailtin, I got to let you go, unfortunately. I know we could talk for several more minutes about this, but where do folks go to find tips on eggs and just all things nutrition in general through the U of I extension? How about that?
Yeah, so we've actually been revamping our main extension page. So extension.illinois.edu/food. Has all of the different recorded webinars, has our different blog posts, has links to videos on our YouTube page. So you can find all that information there at extension.illinois.edu. Or if you want to find what's going on locally in DeWitt, Macon, and Piatt counties, you can visit go.illinois.edu/DMP.
Very good, Cailtin. Always good to talk to you. Cailtin Mellendorf, nutrition educator, University of Illinois Extension. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton.
The Big 1520 WHOW Clinton, 92.3 FM, W222.